Boye. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Whoa. All right. How's everybody doing? Blessed Saturday morning. We're at April 4th. Hope all is well with you and your loved ones. And you're ready to take in a nice solid lesson on leadership in crisis. Today we're at excuse me. Today we're at lesson number five. Lesson number five, and this is a good one. This is something that, again, I think a lot of folks don't take into consideration. But you want to make it through this quarantine and this COVID adventure with some gems and some jewels. You're going to take up these lessons and you're going to start to apply them. I'm doing what I can to pull together best practices based on my lived experience. And good morning, Shadero. Good morning. Um, it's important that you understand that you know the journey of life is fraught with all kinds of peril and danger and difficulty and adversity and unanticipated events, experiences, and part of your ability to continue to move in a positive direction is understanding that people have gone through before you, understanding that not only have people gone before, but people have done well through the fire, through adversity, through difficulty, through encountering unexpected difficulties and just pitfalls. I never forget when I was, let's see, this is early in my career. I had in a different space. I had mentioned that I narrowed my life down to Ifa, my family, and my money, right? And over time, I was able to really zero in all of my activities to the point where I worked. I ran the after school program and the summer camp at my children's school, and I was teaching Ifa. I was teaching stories of Ifa and Yoruba folklore, turning them into musicals, right? So it was like everything was a total convergence, and it was like one solid year where my family, my spirituality, and my business were all concatenated in a tight, airtight, interlocking system and pattern. It was seamless. Taki, 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 taki. Everything was like totally symbiotic, right? After one year, what happened? Well, the director of the school decided that she wanted to run the after school program. And so they offered to buy me out and pay me something like $9 an hour, which of course, there was no discussion about that. But, it left me having to try to, this was told to me somewhere like in April, at the end of the school year, which meant that, I wasn't gonna get a contract at another school. Every school already had their after school programs already in place. So this is my program. I didn't work for the state or the government or on some grant or something like that. This was my program. I owned it and operated it. So it left me out there. You know, everything came to a crash for a moment, right? And that's difficult. This is extremely difficult. I think I had three children by that time. Four children. I had four children at that time. I owned a home in Maxwell Park, which is you know it's a prestigious area in Oakland. I had cars. I had overhead. In other words, I had overhead, big overhead. And it was a major setback for me, but it created some more opportunities for me. It actually freed me up to then become international in my practice. That was what prompted. Well, it didn't prompt, but it gave me the flexibility to start to go abroad. And so I started traveling a little bit more, and that's where my portfolio opened up, and I made contacts with different people in different parts of the world. And so what I want to do is, that is kind of what my most, but not my most, but that is an example of how a crisis can actually be useful to you. And so that's what I want to share with you today. So this is the school, yeah, I'm representing. This is the School of Orisha Studies. I'm your instructor, Obafemi Origun, and today I want to share a precious lesson with you on never letting a crisis go to waste. Don't waste a good crisis, ladies and gentlemen. Don't waste a good crisis. Wasting a crisis is failing to follow my previous instructions. Failure to do a reality check, which ends up with you having a clear understanding of how you co-created your situation. If you don't do that, you're wasting this crisis. If you don't follow the second lesson, which is delegating authority, letting other people help you do what you do, you are wasting this crisis. If you do not get down to the root of the problem, you don't dig all the way down to the root of that problem, which entails you going and getting first-hand information, right? First-hand information on what happened, what didn't happen, who was there, how it works, what the real problem was. If you're not doing that, then you are not making good use of this particular crisis. You're wasting this crisis. Number 4, if you don't take lesson number 4, which is really planning for the long haul, you hope for the best, but you plan for the long term. Not necessarily you plan for the worst, but you plan for the long haul. If you're not doing that and really envisioning where you want to be on the other side of this, you are wasting this crisis. All right? So, the lesson today, do not waste a good crisis. Do not waste a good crisis. And this is a great crisis. This is the greatest crisis of your lifetime. This is the most unique opportunity you're going to have in your whole life to do the things that I'm suggesting to you right now. You're not going to have another opportunity like this. I mean, you're not. You're not. Where the whole globe is shut down, right? This is a totally unique opportunity. So I want you to take it very seriously. I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to listen to these lessons that I'm giving to you and understand I'm giving them to you from the heart. I'm giving them to you because I've done them. I've practiced these lessons myself, and I know what happens. Okay? So when we look at the last lesson that we talked about, which was looking at the long haul, part of the deal is getting out of event thinking. You think of crises as events because that's just the way the mind is organized. Language only allows you to describe things sequentially. And so you think of event. .com bust, real estate bust, financial bust. You think of those as events. The Great Depression, that's an event. That wasn't an event. That was a process. Okay? That was a whole long process. It took years and years and years to set the stage for each one of those major episodes to manifest the way that they did. So right now, what I want you to understand is that as you look toward the long haul, you understand that what we're living today within this crisis is something that it took a process to get into, and it's going to take a process to get out of. It's going to take a process for you to set the stage for something else for yourself. Set the stage for something better for you and your family. All right? So, how do you make good use of a crisis? Okay? How do you make good use of a crisis? The way you make good use of a crisis is by accepting the fact that everything is going to change, or everything is subject to change. You're going to lose people. Okay? There are going to be people who you had made plans with, and they're going to break. There are people who, I don't know, maybe who you had confided in and had confided in you. Those people are going to distance themselves. There are people who maybe you admired, right? And people who claimed to have admired you, somehow they're gonna, they're gonna have something else to do. They're gonna have other interests, and they're gonna just fade to black, right? You're gonna have people who are your peers, who are your contemporaries, people who you felt like you were walking side by side with and neck with, and you guys were kind of on the same page, right? And those people are gonna, some of them will turn on you, some of them will viciously attack you in this time, right? Or they will be so aggressive in their withdrawal from everything that you were doing that you're gonna feel betrayed. You're gonna let those people go. You're gonna let those people go. One of my favorite verses of Ifa is Irosun Iwori. Those who wish to go, let them go. Those who wish to stay, let them stay. Surely human beings were meant to bring goodness into the world. This was the Ifa that was cast for Orunmila on the day that they said, Orunmila, all people are going to come to you and they're going to ask you a particular question. People who bring good into the world and people who do not allow good to manifest in the world. Sure enough, they came and they asked Orunmila, they said, Baba, coming and going from the heavenly realm to the earthly realm is troubling for us. We don't want to do it anymore. We want to stay here in the pristine state with our Father, Olodumare. Orunmila says, is that what you want to do? That's not possible. You have a mission. You have to go and bring about the good condition. Once you brought about the good condition on earth, then you can stay here with Olodumare. What's the good condition? The good condition is knowledge of all things. The good condition is removal of all threats, witchcraft, negativity. Even Eshu himself has become neutralized when you help bring about the good condition. You're gonna in order to bring about the good condition, you're gonna need patience. You're gonna need sacrifice. You're gonna need wisdom to govern the world well. You're gonna need altruism and a desire to serve the needy. If you put all of those things together, you will help bring about the good condition. And yes, that is how people became recognized as Eniam, the chosen ones. The chosen ones. So in that regard, Olodumare has created crises for us. Life on earth is an extended crisis. Listen, life on earth is an extended crisis. This whole thing is intended to shake you up, send you down into the marketplace of life, the Ejigbo Mekun, that the divinities come to, and bump molecules with other entities and get better, get stronger, get wiser, get more focused, get more clear. Okay? So we're here because our life on earth is a kind of a crisis. All right? So in that crisis, there will be people who will remain with you for the whole journey. But then there will be people who can't hang out with you for a bit, and then they'll part and they'll go their own way. Let those people go. And then the new people who come to you during the crisis, let them come. Right? You're going to be apprehensive. You're going to be apprehensive to accept new people in the face of a crisis. Like I've said in other lessons, it's human nature to hunker down and try to defend yourself and protect yourself, and you stick to that little square that you're used to. Breathe. Open your mind, open your heart, open your hands. You know what I'm saying? You got your hands all clenched up. You can't receive no blessings. You got your hands all balled up. You can't give no blessings. So, relax a little bit. When new people come into your life, into your circle, because they will during the crisis, open your mind. Pay attention to them. Listen to what they're saying. Observe what they do. Right? Apply the other lessons. Go back and get firsthand information. Find out directly from them. What do you really do? What are you really about? Right? Examine how these people have shown up in the world for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. What have they been doing? What's their track record? Really? What have they been dedicated to? And that will help you to get a better sense of who to let into your circle as you make space and you let other people go, because they're going to go. All right. So to be able to make that kind of a decision, though, and really make good use of this crisis, and let people go and invite new people in, you know what you're going to need? You're going to need a very clear understanding of where you're going, right? So every time somebody departs, every time somebody peels off, time someone fades away, that's an opportunity for you to recalibrate. If I could only, where am I going? And if I could only take one person with me, who would it be? Is that the person, you know what I'm saying, that I really would want to take with me all the way to the right? The battle comes down to the, you know what I'm saying, it's just me and this one back to back, and is that the person that I feel like was really going to be ready to go down all the way? Nah. Okay, so it's cool then. That person's not really ride or die, in other words. So you get clear. Hey, you know what? For this chapter going forward, you gotta be ride or die. If you're not ride or die, then you take a seat in the bleachers. But the only ones I want on the field are people who are ride or die. So the only way for you to be able to attract those people and discern who is you gotta be ride or die. You got to be ride or die. You got to get real clear. Hey, man, these people took my job. If I lost my house, if I couldn't do any of the things that gave me comfort and security and prestige in the past, if all of those things were stripped away, what would I stand for? What would I represent? Get clear. Challenge yourself now. Stop flim-flamming. Stop, halfway in and halfway out, and this is okay, but I don't forget all of that. You got nothing to lose right now. You got time, you got space. Contemplate your highest aspirations. Contemplate your greatest imaginable challenge. What could you really do if all of the fetters were removed? What could you do if you really had the time? If you really couldn't spend the time with your children, well, how would you spend your time? If you really couldn't spend your time with your sweetheart, the person who you know what I'm saying, if you couldn't get there, if you couldn't travel to your most, beloved destination, if you couldn't go there, what would you do with your time? That's what you need to focus on. This is a perfect opportunity for you to get clear about what you're really about. Okay? So now I'm going to tell you another little story. It's a big story, but, in the scheme of things, it's a little story. So a few years ago, I had a crisis, right? Wherein my ex-wife and I separated. We went separate ways. And in the wake of it, it became like, a scandalous episode, you know what I'm saying? And it was interesting in a way to see how it spread like wildfire, you know what I mean? Like gossip, gossip is like, it's like it spreads like wildfire in a dry field, and it spread and it spread and it spread, and all of the things I'm telling you, I saw and experienced in that time. People who I knew faded. All the ones who were standing close but were weak at the knees, soft in the heart, and feeble of mind, they faded and crumbled quick. 1, 2, 3. People who I had sat next to and done extensive rituals, people who knew me for years, got a whisper of gossip, and one of my mentors says, Obafemi, some people are just like hats. You put them on, they fit well, and they look nice. But with just a little bit of wind, they will blow away. I say, yeah, that's right. But it's shocking to see and it's painful to experience. But in the wake of it, it allowed me to get more and more clear about the things that I'm telling you. Well, I knew that guy though. He wasn't ride or die. I wasn't going to take him all the way to the final battlefield with me anyway. He was you know what I'm saying? He was good in the shotgun. He was good in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't going to bring that guy with me all the way. So you got to be that. That was the unique opportunity. Sorry about folks on this side. So that experience allowed me to have a reality check about who I'm with and what they're really capable of doing, and more importantly, what my focus is. So in that time frame, let's say in the immediate years following my divorce, I think I wrote 3 books. I think I wrote 3 or 4 books in that time frame. because it was a challenge. I took it as a challenge. You know, okay. What do I really want to do with my time? How do I really want to expend my energy? Do I want to go around chasing things that don't matter? Or do I really want to focus on my message, focus on my mission, right? And since then, things have grown. They've expanded, you know, and all of the best part is all of the weak people have been weeded out. This is the other piece of it. A crisis will self-correct your circle of influence. It'll self-correct. A person who will betray you based on what someone else says, or a person who would betray you based on the thought that it would somehow make a problem for them, the idea that maybe this will be a problem for me sometime. If a person will cut you off there, that person is that's a benefit to you. That's a blessing in your crisis, because you know that those people will no longer be. They've been filtered out. Let me put it that way. They've been filtered out. So one of the biggest things about crisis is the change, is what I'm trying to say. It's what it boils down to. One of the most difficult aspects of crisis is that it creates change. It creates quick change. It creates dramatic change. Change creates uncertainty. Uncertainty will cause you, will encourage you, or it will tempt you to go into your shell and retreat and try to protect yourself. Right? Those are kind of endemic to crisis. Resist all of that to get more and more focused about who you are and where you're going and why you're here. If all of it were to disappear, if all of the people were to go, if all of the money were to go, if all of the house and the car and all of your material wealth were to go, what would you really focus on? What would really matter? Okay? That's where you give your attention right now. Because that is what really matters. It truly matters to you. Stop putting it on the back burner. Put it all the way front and center. And make sure everything else that you do, start organizing your life so that everything else that you do, this is really uncooperative, so that everything else that you do will support the things that matter most. Okay? Sorry, I got some technical difficulties here. Wow. Okay, so you focus on what matters most, and then you start to organize around that. You get very clear about where you really want to go, and you organize everything else around that. You coordinate all of your other activities, all your other resources, all your other connections. You make sure that everything works in favor of what truly matters most. That is your greatest blessing in this crisis. All right? So to summarize, we've got 5 lessons so far. Lesson number 1 is you got to do a reality check. And out of the reality check, you should be very clear about what your decision making has been that helped to co-create the crisis in the first place. Secondly, you should, from this crisis, you should delegate. You should delegate. Start letting people help you, right? The people who know what you do and love what you do or close to you, let them help you. Don't try to carry the burden all on your own. Lesson number 3, get down to the root of the problem. Getting down to the root of the problem means getting firsthand information. Don't go by hearsay. As much as you can, get all the way down to really, really, really where the source of this thing is for you. Lesson number 4, you need to think about the long haul. Okay? Don't just obsess about what's in front of you right now. Look at the moment right now in terms of how it will feed into something greater. Look at the opportunities that you can take advantage of today that will have long-term opportunities, create long-term, benefits for you, yield. And lesson number 5, don't waste the crisis. Do not waste a good crisis. And not wasting the crisis means, on a big level, acceptance. It means accepting change and clarifying your focus, clarifying your highest priorities, your highest aspirations, your deepest values. Where are you really trying to go? If everything was to change and there was nothing left but you, what would you be focused on? What would you want to do? Where would you like to go? Who would you want to be with? Okay? That's how you take advantage of a crisis. All right? So again, my goal is, I'm certain if you follow these instructions, I am 100% sure that by the time this thing rolls out, you're going to say, this, I have a gem. I followed these lessons, and we got 2 more lessons. I followed these seven lessons, and I have now created a gem. I have a diamond. I have something so precious. So before I wrap it up, I mentioned that I've written these books. So I want to show you just so you can see. In the wake of crisis, I wrote this book. I wrote this book. In the wake of crisis, I wrote this book. In the wake of crisis, I wrote this book. Okay? These are the books that I wrote at a time when, right? These are the books that I wrote. I'm not bragging. I'm trying to help you understand. When it looked like, when people even deliberately wanted me to believe that, oh my God, my life was over, my career has come to an end, I can't do anything, that was when I focused the most. And not only did I write the books, but I created full-length courses based on the books. Not only did I create full-length courses, but I took the courses and the lectures and I delivered them in various places across the country and around the world. Okay? These are the gems. These are the gems. These gems are what will sustain you for years and years and years and years and years. Stay focused on what your truest values are in the face of this crisis. It's a beautiful opportunity for you. All right? I guarantee if you can do that, you will emerge on the other side of this with something extremely valuable that will last you much longer than you think. All right? Fayinde, it's okay to brag a little. Those books are gems. Ashe. Thank you so much for saying so, Fayinde. I have enjoyed writing them. I enjoy teaching them and going back to them and using them myself. It's very helpful in those instances to go back and help people. They have questions. I can say, hey, just go to page 55 in this book. Go to page 22 in that book. It's very helpful as a teaching tool. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability. If not, you can leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to respond there. And then if you already know you have a relationship with me one way or another, feel free to contact me the way that we always communicate. All right. Blessings to you and yours, and I look forward to seeing great results from you on the other end of the quarantine. Odabo, bye for now.